Hi everyone, Leighton, how you doing? I think you're
I
the
am
hardest
good.
working man in track and field right now.
So I hear, but
Is
it's fun. I mean, it's a lot of sacrifice on your body and your brain, but it's only for a time. So you just enjoy it when you can. It's pretty cool.
yeah, so many things to talk about. People have been
Mhm.
asking if I talk to you, and so I was like, we have to make it happen. So let's go straight to what I think could potentially be a resetting of the balance of power. I guess
Mhm.
Jamaica is happy right now. Oblique Seville, Kishane Thompson. You call it the right way. We call the podium. You call it the
Yep.
right way. I will say I remember seeing a comment saying Leighton is friends with Glenn. So he would say anything about Seville, right? I saw a comment like that a couple weeks ago when
Yeah.
you call this. And so I want to give you the space to talk about the moment, talk about what you think the impact is also, not only for the lad who we're happy for, but for Jamaica, what it means for future and all of that.
All right. So let me start with a comment that I saw
Mm.
where somebody was challenging my position on why level would Seville would win, and the question was, show me a model in which Oblique beats Kishane,
Mm.
as if to suggest that it's impossible. And we spoke about it. We spoke about the race model, about how Kishane hits his top speed earlier while Oblique is still accelerating, and all that Oblique had to do was get out with Kishane, and it's over. And I sent you a clip earlier on, just before we got on air, that from the angle of the camera, from that, it shows exactly what was. He got out with Kishane. When Kishane hit top speed, Oblique was still accelerating and got ahead of him and won by 300ths of a second. And I said the race was going to be close because that's exactly how it turned out. Because I didn't think, when you look at how Noah was beaten all year by Oblique Seville, Noah was unable to gain on him in both races. And again, he failed to gain on him in both races. I haven't seen the actual numbers yet on that race because I haven't had much time to look at it. But I suspect that if you look at it, it will reflect my opinion on why he wasn't able, because their numbers are similar in the last 30 meters. So if Oblique is ahead at 70, there's no way that Nola is going to catch him. And the race played out exactly the same way. 977 to what was it, 989? That's 0.12. That's as big a margin as was the 987 to the 10 flat, or the
Correct.
987 to the what was it? It was 10 flat both times, or 1001
Yeah.
or something. So it when I studied the models, the race models, that was how I played, and the fact we spoke about as well, the fact that Kishane tightens up late in races because he doesn't know how to relax late in races, and it cost him again. And it's something that he's going to have to learn, and I think he will get over it eventually. I think these two experiences will be significant learning experiences for him. I think as he matures and he becomes more comfortable. And the other thing I said was that most MVP sprinters are front-loaded sprinters. They get out fast, and then you have to catch them. Oblique's model is a little bit different because Glenn's model is a little bit different. And when you saw how Johan Blake, even Kim Collins,
Mm.
that's how they run, right? So Bolt's, not Bolt, but Glenn Mills's model is a more effective model, especially when you're in a field where the quality is that high. And it makes a difference. We saw it with Bolt, we saw it with Blake, we saw it with Kim Collins, and now we see it with Oblique Seville. I suspect, this is my theory, if Kishane joins Glenn Mills in 2 seasons, he's unstoppable
Mm.
because he's going to take a time to learn how to run a different race model. But he still has to learn how to relax at the end. So so basically that's how I came up with that conclusion about the 1-2 certainly, and of course that is 3. Because I knew Kenny Bednarik doesn't have. I've seen Kenny Bednarik run now for the last few years, and I'm not convinced that he's a closer in finals.
Right.
And when you heard him complain after the race,
US.
yeah, and again in Tokyo, where he's saying that he got a terrible start and he didn't execute right. Whose fault is that? I mean, nobody else is running his race for him, and I suspect that was one of the reasons why he does not beat Noah at all, because he doesn't have the head for the competition. He has these things where his whole concentration and his whole model and his whole what do you call it, functionality breaks down in major races, which is one of the reasons why he probably isn't a gold medalist at a global level. But we'll see.
Right, it's those small things that separates the people who walk away with the proper silverware, or you just have other medals. I guess you'd be happy with medals. In this case, Kung Fu didn't. I always think that Noah still lives rent free in his head, and once he gets over that,
absolutely,
maybe
he has to get over that. He has to get it. I think that whole issue with him and his ex-wife and the comment made about Janelle, all of that I think has played a role in how he approaches events, especially ones that have no lads in it. And I think he needs to let that go and focus on what he needs to do because there's no doubt that he has talent. There's no doubt that he's fast, but he needs to be able to put his mind in sync with his body, and then I think he'll be a little bit more successful.
Sure. Before I get you to talk about the moment again, thanks everyone for joining. I see Camille on your channel. Purpose Driven is there. I see Mindset Dell. We might not be able to do a lot of comments tonight just because we have short time together, but hopefully enjoy the show and we'll be back.
Can I just respond to a comment I saw earlier about what do I think about Julian Alfred putting out the 200?
Oh, I think that might have been hard.
Yeah, she's hurt. She picked up she had an injury. She felt her hamstring in the warm-ups.
Yeah.
Decided to push through, and then mid-race she felt the hamstring and decided to back off. That's when Tina Clayton got past her. And I actually broke the story on my ex account that same morning, about an hour later that same morning, because I heard from her camp and that she's putting out the 200. It's on X now, so if you can find my handle on X, you'll see this the story. Well, not the story, but the post and the 50,000 views that it has so far.
No, it's very unfortunate. I mean, we feel it for Juju. We wish her the very best, and health is the most important thing. But you could see it was emotional for her. I think I saw one of her post-race in the call room where it was a great interview. I don't remember who the journalist was, but she allowed her to be emotional and to understand that these things happen. It doesn't define you, and certainly she'll be back much better and top class athlete, no question about it. But before we get to the women, maybe think of, as the balance of power restored, or what are you thinking? What's the sentiment like? What's the feeling like there in Jamaica? How do you look at this moment as a period where, because we've talked about it a lot, where in the post Usain Bolt era, there have been talent is not the issue, is delivery. And your thoughts?
All right, so here's what I think. I think for the last 3 years, especially the last 3 years, Oblique Seville has had the talent to be on top of the podium. But for one reason or the other, he hasn't managed to get there. Glenn Mills said in an interview, something that was quite revealing yesterday, that he had told Oblique that because of his limitations in terms of his physicality and some other issues that he's had, he wouldn't be able to be at his best until he was about 20. It said we're going to take him about 4 years.
Right.
This is year 4. What this means, though, for me, and looking at it and looking at the broader scope of people across the planet in terms of the sprinters, the best sprinters in the world, I think from now on, Oblique is going to be the hardest man in the world to beat. Because now he's broken through, not just physically, but he's broken through mentally as well. He's proven to himself that he can beat the best in the world. Kishane Thompson, 975, Oblique Seville now is 977. And I suspect as long as he's healthy, he's going to be the man to beat. So I think the balance of power for the time being has shifted back to Jamaica from the US, because since both the USA had gone back to dominating the short sprints.
Right.
So I think with Oblique now on the ascendancy and Kishane about to get there, I'm saying about to because he's been second for 2 years in a row. I think, and because of their ages, they're both 24 years old. I think they'll be able to, as long as they're healthy, I think they'll be able to dominate for a while. So I suspect that in 2027, in Beijing, that's going back to Beijing in 2027, I think, and then of course LA 28, I expect them to be winners again, either Kishane or Oblique. I think, well, Noah Lyles is 28 years old now. He's he's getting to a point now where he's probably getting past his peak. So unless there's a young sprinter coming through from the US, because Trayvon Bromell, as talented as he can't stay healthy. He's come back now from about 4 different surgeries, 4 different major injuries. Kenny has not proven to me that he's ready to take on that mantle. So unless somebody comes through from the US collegiate system, maybe Anthony, because he's
Mars or
McCallum, So maybe one of those guys, but I don't see anybody right now. I don't see anybody beating Oblique Seville or Kishane Thompson for that matter in the next couple of years at least, because remember that their bodies are still not fully mature at 24, right? They're getting to their peak manhood, as my coach used to call it, at 27, 28, 27, 26, 27, 28. So they potentially can get stronger. And because of that increased capacity, they'll be faster as well. So I'm thinking that in the next few years, you'll probably see Kishane run 9.6s. You'll probably see Oblique on 9.7 lows or 9.6 highs as well, because that's the kind of talent I think both possess. And I think for right now, the balance of power has shifted. And I think depending on health, primarily health, I think they'll be on top for a few years to come.
Yeah, you mentioned Glenn. I listened to the interview too. It was quite insightful. He also mentioned that this was probably one of the worst starts he saw from Oblique. And it made me think. And when I was listening to that, I remember when you told me that he thinks he could do 9.6. And, I believe you. There's not a lot of people in track and field that when they say something, I take it as gospel. But and sometimes I was like, that's wild, but I'll take it because I know Leighton. And I'm now seeing it. But how about Glenn before we get to Kishane or anybody? Because this is Kim Collins, this is Usain, this is Johan, this is you name it. Even today must be extremely happy with Toby Amason as well.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the credit because I think he gets the credit if you know. But it's not in the limelight in a way that sometimes
like Stephen Francis. Like Stephen Francis or Lance Browman or John Smith. Because Glenn is a low-key kind of guy.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that Glenn has been doing this for 60 years, 60 plus years. People forget that Glenn took Raymond Stewart to the Olympic finals in 1984 as just out of high school.
Right.
And he was in the Olympic final in Los Angeles. And according to Glenn, had Raymond not been pasted up against the sideboard at the track back then, he probably would have done better in the final. And remember, Glenn has coached Leroy Reed. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people remember who Leroy Reed was, but he's probably the most talented sprinter I've seen before Usain Bolt. But he couldn't stay healthy. I think he's a sheriff somewhere in the United States now. And Glenn used to coach this guy named Mingos, who I ran against at champs, fast like lightning. Glenn has been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, and all those Camperdown guys. Yeah.
Yep, that's why they call Camperdown the sprint factory back in the day. So the thing about it is that when you look at how Glenn prepares his athletes, that once he gets them ready, they are ready. I mean, look, who thought Kim Collins would have gone to Paris in 2003 or what? Nobody did.
Nobody.
But Glenn got him there. And,
even Antonio Watson the other day, right?
Exactly. Antonio Watson last year, not last year, 2023.
Right.
So, Glenn has quietly established himself as perhaps the best sprint coach in the world. People can argue, it may be Tom Tellez, it could be, as I said, Lance Browman, it could be John Smith. But when you look at Glenn's credentials, I mean, certainly you can make a strong case for him being the best sprint coach in the world.
Yeah. No, yeah. Kishane Thompson, again, you must celebrate the silver medal. I figure he might not be happy with that performance. Again, you don't deliver your fastest time in the finals. That's where you want it to happen. We talked about the deceleration. But I want to go back to something that we saw earlier. And I think it was instructive in the way, I don't remember, I don't know if you asked him or somebody asked him on a call room once where to identify that section of the race where he's not relaxed enough and if he's going to work on it. And one of his responses to that was, but if I'm faster than everybody else, that part won't matter. Yeah. And in a way, that is true. Yeah. It is true, but it's not true when you might be in a pressure environment and you need it. So is it now the time that they have to really focus on that part and try to solve that?
Yeah, look, regardless of whatever coaching Stephen Francis engages with Kishane, that last part of the race comes down to him and to
Right.
him alone, because he's the one who's going to have to learn to. He said it after he lost in Paris. He
Yeah.
has to learn to trust his own speed. He knows he's fast. He's run 9.75. When he said that when he's faster than everybody, then he doesn't have to worry about that. But history and circumstances have proven that you don't have to be as fast as he is to catch him late in races. Because when he gets away, for example, then look at this race, for example. And as I alluded to, why I thought Seville would win. If you're close enough to him, and that's the difference between him and Bolt, right? He's a 9.7 sprinter. Bolt was a 9.6, 9.5 sprinter at his best.
Right.
Nobody was close enough to him. Right? And of course, Bolt didn't slow down either, which helped his case a bit. Because Bolt other than Ben Johnson, Bolt is the only person I've seen accelerate past 80. So, that's ridiculous. But so Kishane, until he gets to that speed level where he can probably be consistent 9.7 lows and 9.6s, he will have to contend with people who will be on his heel close enough that when he starts to decelerate, he will be caught. And it happened. Well, in this race, it wasn't much about him getting caught because Oblique was right there with him at 60 and then pulled away from him because he started the deceleration faster than Oblique, which is what I said initially. So he's going to have to learn to come to grips with the reality that no matter what Stephen Francis does, he needs to come here and say, listen, trust yourself to relax in races. If you look at how Shelly runs, that's how Shelly runs. She gets out, she hits 70, and then you have to catch her. The thing with her initial speed is so quick that she gets so far ahead of everybody else that by the time they catch up to her, you remember Daphne Skipper's back in
Skipper's
2013, right down to the line. But Shelly was so far ahead by the time she caught up with her, she was, ran out of real estate. So Kishane is going to have to learn to be Shelly in the sense that trust himself, trust his speed, and just relax late. Once he relaxes late, he will be fine. I think he'll run 9.6 right now, actually, because he has that kind of speed. Because if you look at his early numbers from 0 to 55, 60, it's better than anybody else in the world.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't know how to hold that speed longer.
Yeah. No, yeah, it is. It is. I wish him well. I think he's young enough. He's fine. And at the end of the day, it's not a disappointment, especially if your countryman wins. It's probably a personal disappointment, but I think from a standpoint of Jamaica reasserting itself on the great stage, rivalries require you to beat the United States, and they have been sitting quite pretty, and now not so much right now. And so long may it continue. Hopefully, Akeem Blake will get into the mix. He needs to do a lot of work on his races as well to start getting into major finals.
Yeah. I see Mindset Media saying, I think we're doing Kishane a disservice by creating this so-called flaw in him. Boss, all I will say to you, watch his races and watch how the fields close on him late in races. It's not a flaw. It's not a myth. It's not something that we're making up. It's right there for you to see, right? You said that, no, I didn't close on him in the final. Watch the final again. 9.83 to 9.89. Watch the final again. Don't let the illusion of the race. What I suggest to you do, watch the race and watch him alone and watch how the spaces are created between him and Seville late in the race and him and Noah late in the race. Noah was about a 10th behind him at 70, and it closed to within a 10th by the time they crossed the line. He does have an issue. We're not saying this to try to discredit him or to try to create a false narrative. Anybody who understands how the sprints work will tell you that's what is happening to him. I mean, I'm not the only person saying it. Justin Gatlin said it recently. I think Donovan Bailey said it.
It's there. Right?
Understand the race model. It's there for all to see. I know you might like Kishane, but for someone to improve, they must first acknowledge the flaws in their race models, and once they fix that, they'll be fine. We're not. He's a two-time global silver medalist, right? He is elite, but for him to improve, he's going to have to work on that last 30 meters of his race. Everybody can see it.
Yeah. My biggest issue is that I mean, I've been complaining about World Athletics and what they're doing with the data because I haven't seen a 10-meter analysis on this. Have you? Have you seen one?
No, I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah, I really think the way they're doing this coverage is terrible in the sense that the live stats, the way you would get it from Omega through the Diamond League, they need to do better than that. Because I think that report will be instructive because then people can say what they want, but when you see the numbers.
But we can't show the numbers. Because you remember when we put up some numbers from
when we did the Diamond League stuff,
the numbers are right there,
And I went back myself and I looked at like all the ones he had run before, and you see it, there's a drastic drop off that others can maintain at least for sometimes others maintain for like 80. He might be going by the time you get to 70 sometimes, so but he'll be fine. Anyway,
look, Kishane will be fine. And I think Stephen Francis will probably work on something with him that allows him to be able to relax the races and just relax and exert power, and I think he'll be fine eventually.
Thanks, everybody. I see a lot of people on your channel too. Camille, Tans, Kems, Debbie. Let's talk about the women quickly. What a proud moment for a young Tina Clayton. First of all, congratulations again to Melissa Jefferson Wooden. I call it that way. I know you had Julian.
Listen, we said it today. I said that they could probably approach 10-5. Remember we said that.
They're not far off.
And they're not 10-61. Listen, I still will maintain my position that Julian could have won. And but Melissa, kudos to her. And she could possibly end up joining Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce as the only woman, the second woman to win 3 gold medals at the same World Championships. Because if she wins the 200, which I think she has a very good chance of winning now, and the 4x1, then she replicates Shelly's performance from 2013 in Moscow. But I said it as well. Remember, I used the analogy, that in 2008 Shelly ran 10:82 at the national championships and 10:78 to win in Beijing. I said that I believe that Tina was going to be able to run between 10:75 and 10:77. She ran 10:76. Exactly that. I mean, I didn't expect to be.
There's no question about it.
So she ran 10:76, but I thought that 10:76 would have been for third. As it turns out, turned out for second because Julian's injury. But still, an outstanding performance from her. And based on what I was hearing, I'm hearing from my most reliable source, is that Tia was actually killing them all in training leading up to the World Championships. So maybe Tia is in closer to 10-6 shape as well. So we get an opportunity to see that perhaps next season. Once they're healthy and come back out healthy, then I think they'll be fine. But kudos to Tina, a fantastic run. But boy, Melissa Jefferson is extraordinary. No, she's the 4th fastest one all the time. That takes some doing.
No, it's a season for season, undefeated, started off fast and ended that way. And it's the right moment for her. But to the twins, because I know a lot of people want to talk about them. Should the world be worried that they won't? Because once they get on top of a podium, which you suspect could happen in a couple of cycles, it's gonna be a long time, right? Because if they stay healthy,
because they're 21 years old now. And if the trajectory, if you use Shelly's model as a trajectory, then you're looking at similar performances from both girls,
right?
Because I mean, they're basically the same DNA. They're the same. They come from the same embryo. So it's going to be scary for a lot of people. The thing about it is this: Melissa Jefferson is young enough to be able to maintain this kind of ridiculous form for a long time, and with the confidence that she now has running on an unbeaten season, she's going to be hard to beat going forward as well. I think she's going to be the person to beat, regardless of whether Julian Alfred comes back strong next year or not. Melissa Jefferson is going to be the girl now, So, when you get to that level and have that breakthrough, then you're going to be looking at someone who's going to be very difficult to beat. But I suspect that by 2028, it's another 2.5 years from now, the Clayton twins will be right there. I think if all things being equal and everybody staying healthy, we'll see epic battles between Jefferson, Julian Alfred, and the Clayton twins, and perhaps a Brenda Liston as well. So it's going to be intense because Brenda Liston is with Lance Brahman now, and we've seen Lance Brahman do remarkable work with Shawnee Miller-Weebo,
Right.
and of course Daryl Nita now, who looked pretty good. I
VCB
mean,
from back in the
and
day. Yeah.
VCB back in the day. So you're looking at a situation where the battles could become even more intense in the next 2 or 3 years.
No, yeah, it is. You look at when every time you say Brianna, listen, not to change the topic, I get jitters because I think the talent that's there, if they get that right, I don't think the
Yeah,
world
man.
is ready for that either.
No, she's not normal. She's
Yeah.
not normal at all.
Yeah, she's more Elaine like than the
Yeah.
twins are like probably more
Yeah.
Shelly like if you wanted to think about where they would
Yeah.
do the
No,
dominant
she's
stuff. Yeah.
exactly Elaine, more Elaine like.
Yeah.
In fact, the closer description or characterization, she looks like a lot like Merlin Nati
Ah. Hmm.
in terms of her mechanics, in terms of how her posture when she's competing. It's ridiculous, So
Top draw comparison.
yeah.
Top draw comparison. Yeah, that's just really interesting. It's great performances there. All right, we can change the subject and talk about a couple of things. We're at 26 minutes in. Thanks everyone. We probably won't touch a lot of comments tonight because Leighton he has to wake up early. The Taja Kambunje. We said it, and I said to people, it's impossible. We've been talking about it. There's no way you can predict women's 100 meters.
Yep.
My commentary after our opinion after Daniel delivered in that first round, I was like, that opening round for Williams is too perfect. You want that for the final, not in the opening.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Williams one, it's crazy. Like Kambunji, Toby Amerson coming back after big setbacks, moving to different coaching setups. Masairos not even on the podium. Vessa way back.
It's crazy.
Great start.
Yeah. We had a thing in the studio. Casey Graham and Michael Carr, who coaches Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce at Wilmers, we're having a conversation. And we're saying with the women's hurdles, if you run that final 8 different times, you probably had 8 different winners. And that's how deep the field is. Because Danielle ran 7th and ran 12:51. Had she not crashed into that second hurdle, she may very well have been on the podium again.
I thought so too.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's because she fought back. I mean, the race, you don't have enough room to fight back all the way in a short race like the hurdles. But the Taji, listen, I love her. I tell the entire world, I love her to death. I mean, I like both sisters. But
Munjinga.
Benjinga is pregnant now, so I don't feel very much anymore.
Where's your wife? Yeah.
Yeah, but the time she has been, if you've been watching her closely, like I have been, because I follow both of them very closely.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 seasons, the Taji has moved gradually to become an elite sprinter, sprint hurdler. It was earlier this year that I think she set a national record.
Yeah.
I think it was
indoor too.
Yeah, and indoors. So she's been getting better in her first 60 and gradually getting better over the last 4 to 5 hurdles. And today, I think it couldn't have come at a better time. 12:24 is one of the fastest times in the world this year.
Right.
It equals Jamaica's national record that was set by Akira Nugent 2 seasons ago. And she's not among the elite again. So this is another woman who's at 12:20 in the 12:2s in an era where 12:2s has now become the norm.
Right, because Dunkova was at 12:21 for a very long time, and it's very close now.
Yeah, because you remember when Dunkova was the world record holder.
Yeah.
People were winning titles remember what's her name?
12-4, 12-5 one title sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, 12-4, 12-5. And of course, her name slips me now. She's a coach now. Jessica.
Joanna Hayes.
Joanna Hayes. 12, I think she ran 12:35 to win an Olympic title. And I remember how people were amazed at the time. At the time, if she was running now, she would be at the back of the pack. Because the quality is such that Grace Stark ran 12:34 for third.
Right.
It's
outrageous.
Unreal. Yeah. It is what it is. The only disappointment I have with that is that, I mean, we're all talking about the potential of a world record. It never happened. But I think given the circumstances, it was probably implausible to expect a world record under those conditions. So, it is what it is.
No, it is. The competition is better than the world record. I think the world record will go at some point. It's one of those things. You mentioned Akira. Very hard. I felt it for her, sitting on the corner there waiting to get in. Your thoughts on that? Because I think you call her what do you call her, a vibes runner? Was that what your term for her? Yeah. And she looked good at the end. Diamond League. I thought she was coming into the championships with a clear head. ready to go, and not even in the finals. She must be disappointed with that.
She is disappointed. She broke out into tears.
Yeah.
After she realized, after Devin Charlton bumped her off the final spot, and she broke out into tears. And we have Wayne Walker is in Tokyo, and she breezed by in tears and everything. And Amari Brown was also very emotional as well. But I think, I don't know, you get the feeling that Akira is not locked in enough when she's in these moments. As I said, she's a vibes person, I think. And I think sometimes her emotions or the emotion of the moment allows or causes her not to focus as keenly as she should be focusing. Because she was right there with the top two in her heat, and then clipped either hurdle number 8 or 9, I think it was, and then lost that momentum. And those fractions actually cost her a place in the final, because had she completed the race without clipping a hurdle, she'd have probably run 12:4.
Right.
Yeah. And but I think these are teething pains for her. This is her second full year as a pro. And I think sometimes you have to go through these experiences to then learn how to be in these moments, in these major championships. And before you become a little bit more hardened, a little bit more steely like when you're facing these circumstances of a semifinal where you have two of the fastest women in the world in the same heat as you, and you need to get by them to get onto the podium. Because some girls run 12:24, she run 12:28.
It's not ability.
It's just it's not ability. Yeah. It's just, I think, an ability or the lack thereof to really lock in and shut everything else out, push the emotions aside, and just be indifferent to the circumstance and just compete, allow the instincts to take over. That's my theory. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but the thing about it is that I think though these are just teething pains for her, I think. And I think by the time we roll around to 2027, she'll be 26 years old. I think she'll be a lot better off. I think she'll be a lot better then, and truly deliver the potential that I know she possesses.
Yeah, hope so too. This will give her a lot of things to think about, and let's see what happens next year. Before we come on some other things. Yeah.
Her start is still too inconsistent.
Say that again?
Her start is still too inconsistent.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So she got to work on it.
I think Sherwood 991 was asking, is Shericka injured? If you had any updates on that.
No, she's not injured. Shericka is not injured. She's if you're talking about the 100, the fact that she ran 10:88. Yeah, or 10. What was it? 10:80.
I think it's 10:88.
She was fourth in 10:88 because Julian ran 10:84. That's the same time she ran at trials. And as I said when we just spoke the last time, I think she lost a step. Not necessarily for the longer term. It could be for the longer term. But I think the years, the 2022 and 2023, where she was pushing the envelope at 21:41 and 21:43 and chasing world records, I think those 2 years took a toll on her body that I think then broke down in 2024. And now she is trying to recover to where she was this year. The big question is whether or not she'll be able to get back to the Shericka of 2 years ago for next year and for 2027. And for I'm hearing that she doesn't plan to go to LA in 28. So if that's true, then, at least for the next 2 years, she'll be hoping to get back close to that 21:41, 10:65 Shericka Jackson. If not, then she's going to be a 10:8 sprinter for as long as her career remains for the next 2 years, perhaps. But she's, as far as we know, she's not injured, so she's going to be available for the 4x1. She and Shelly, and I don't know who else might be in that squad. I think probably Jodine Williams. I think Johnny Smith is there as well.
Right.
So I think if the reserve squad can get them into the final, I think they'll have a good shot at the gold. But they have to be perfect, because any leg that Melissa Jefferson is on is going to be a game-changing leg, unless she draws Tina Clayton on a leg, because the form that I'm hearing that Tina Clayton is, she might be able to hold her own with her on any leg, because I hear that Tina is flying. And when I say flying, I mean better than the 10:76 that Tina ran. So if that's true, then if they structure the layout in a way in which Melissa Jefferson, maybe they put her on anchor and Tina on anchor, and Jamaica manages to get the stick before the USA, which is not implausible.
Yeah.
Maybe Tia can hold her up, but we don't know what that's going to have to play out for us to see what happens there. But yeah. I
Yeah,
forgot the question that you were asking.
no, I don't remember what I asked. So we'll do it. Shout out to everybody in the live. We'll try our best the next time to get questions.
Ralston White is asking, so Oblique came from behind to beat Noah. He did not. He was actually leading. I can actually the video that I sent to Dwaine earlier shows you that he got out to Kishane. Noah was always behind him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we can't show that video online because that's copyright. But anyway,
yeah,
yeah, I don't play those things. Yeah, I know. There's so much to talk about, but it would be remiss of me if we didn't give the moment to say the Queen made it to the final and she left the way she wanted to. It's fitting, and the way I was saying it the other night is it's the women that didn't make the final should ask themselves some serious questions how you allow that to happen in the sport. But that only suggests that this is she's been so great, she's been good for the sport, and the ovation in Japan was worthy for the GOAT over 100 meters, and certainly one of the nicest persons. And the sport will sincerely miss her on the track, but I suspect her memory will live on for decades to come.
Listen, man, the greatest career.
Yeah.
I mean, people talk about Fanny Blancas-Cohen. Yeah, she had a fantastic career. But Fanny Blancas wasn't running against the quality that Shelly was running against for the last almost 20 years. What to me speaks to Shelly's greatness is the fact that even while not at her best, even while not even close to being the 1060 Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce that we've come to know, she's still in a global final in a quality field.
Right.
Finishing sixth, yes, but nobody expected her to be on the podium given the times that we've seen her run this year. But as you said, she finishes on her own terms, which is exactly what she wants. And she said this in post-race interviews. I didn't need to talk to her to find out that because I've been covering her long enough to understand how she thinks. And I knew the reason why that she carried over into this year was because she didn't get to finish on her own terms in Paris last year. And she said it in a post-race interview. I think it was probably NBC. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, and she did that in World Athletics too, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But what she said virtually reflected my opinion on why she carried over into this year. And she's going to make herself available for the relays. So here's the reality of it. And the irony of it is that she started her career as a sprint relay medalist in 2007 in Osaka. And she will likely end her career as a sprint relay medalist 18 years later in Tokyo, Japan. I don't think it could be a better way to end an illustrious career, So, and I think she was very gracious when we spoke to her off air after the race. And it was a very emotional moment for her. I am very emotional for us in the studio as well, because we've recognized and honored the exemplar she has been for 2 decades, inspiring people on and off the track. When you hear kids from different countries across the world, from the USA, from the UK, all over Europe, talking about Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and how she inspires them, her legacy will live on for decades.
Right.
So Nike put out a statement, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Said her career was measured in milliseconds, but her legacy will endure for years. I think it's a perfect description of what that career, encapsulates.
No, it is. Yeah. We may never see the like, but you just have to, you're happy that you are in the moment. It happened in our time to see it, and it's one of the great things.
I lived it twice with Merlene and with Shelly. But Shelly was great because Shelly won the big ones that mattered. Merlene didn't necessarily do that as well.
Yeah. Today was an interesting day. Mondo Duplantis. I mean, that just come on. At this point now, we need to stop him. He's just outrageous. I think, but all in all, before we even get to him and give him all the superlatives, and I thought it was one of the better pole vaults I've seen in a long time. 7 men going to 590, going to near 595. It's an improvement. We talked about Coriolis knowing that he could get
Yeah.
up there. Perhaps he should have tried at 615 a little bit differently, but
Yeah.
it's phenomenal what the kid has done. 2 years ago, I think we were talking. I never thought we would see the 630. Now I'm wondering where the ceiling. I'm still not quite sure because he keeps
I was
redefining
asked,
what the ceiling
yeah, man,
is.
I was asked a very question today. How much farther do you think he can take the world record? The answer is simple. If you look at how far above the bar he is when he clears those heights, that criminal boy is milking his sponsors and making Worth Athletics of $100,000 each time. $1.4 million he's earned now from breaking world records.
From world records.
So he gets $100,000 every time he breaks a world record. And he knows this because he breaks it by 1 centimeter increments at a time.
Yeah.
When you look at his clearance is like a half a foot or more sometimes. So over these heights that he's setting world records at. So he knows that he has his world records at his mercy for the next few years until his body starts to fail him eventually, because that invariably will happen, because the pole vault requires a lot of gymnastic elasticity, power, and everything. So the reality is like the reality is that he will be, I think he'd probably take it to possibly 640 before it's over. But it's probably happen over the next 2 years because he does it in these increments.
Yeah. No, he's special. It was good. Today I thought, we saw. I never thought that anyone would beat Supain El Bakali in a tactical race. That was outrageous there from Beamish. Shout out to him. He fell in the first round.
Yeah.
Special. The marathon was special. I thought the hammer throw was special. Rogers redefining what it means, getting to the 80-meter mark. That was big stuff there. Your thoughts on that, but also maybe when you get a second, you can quickly go through. Jamaican men looking really decent in the 110-meter hurdles. You must be happy for Tyler Mason.
Yeah, listen.
I don't know what's happening there. I was shocked by Cordell. Hopefully irons that out. You could see that maybe, Mr. Flamingo, Grant Holloway might not be where he wants to be, and it's probably the first time we may put him off a podium, which is interesting.
Look, Grant has been hurt. I think he's had a lot of issues this season, and it's clear because he's not the hurdler that we knew, the dominant hurdler that we see all the time and we've seen for the last decade. For Tyler Mason, personally, listen, I remember when what was it, 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago when he just missed the ticket to Budapest. And I will confess now, I actually sat on the cycle truck and I shed a tear because this kid has been through so much. Surgery, injuries, you name it, Tyler Mason has gone through it. So to see him make a team, and he's fortunate as well, because had Rashid Broadbell not been injured, probably he wouldn't have made the team. But he goes into the semifinals with the fastest time, 13:17. And Orlando Bennett, 13:20. The Mario Prince is also through. You're looking at the representation. If they don't even go on from further right now, I think the representation has been great because, look, Rashid is leaps and bounds ahead of these guys. Right? Rashid's a 12-9 guy. These are still 13-0 guys. But Tyler Mason right now looks pretty confident, and that 13:17 tells me that in the semifinal, if he executes right, he's going to probably go faster again. And I would love for him to get to the final because I think the sacrifice that his body has made over the last decade and a half. I can remember he was a silver medalist at World Youth, I think, our World Under 20 back in 2014. Right? So this is 11 years of nightmares, of serious injuries, of surgery. I remember talking to him. I did a story. I interviewed him earlier this year, before trials, and he was, itemizing all the different issues that he was going through. It was crazy. I mean, I would have quit. So he's here now doing well. Kudos to him. I don't even think he has a contract. So he's doing well. And I know time is against him in terms of probably a shoe company sponsoring, because he's 31 now, I think. or 29. I'm just somewhere in that region, but he's not younger anymore, you know. So I'd love to see him go out there and make a final, and if possible, probably end up on the podium, because what we've seen, if today's any indication of what's going on, it seems as if all of the hurdlers are out of sorts. So maybe it's an opportunity for somebody to capitalize on that. So but I like Orlando Bennett as well. He looked pretty confident in his winning.
Yeah, he did look good.
And he told us afterwards that, hey, he's in it to win it. He's not here to participate. So that kind of mentality I like. So let's see what happens. Demara Prince, I think he's just suffering from competition fatigue. He's been competing since last year, December, indoors, carrying over into this year. And I think he's like, 3 months short of a full year of competition, indoors and outdoors. But he didn't look particularly sharp at 13:31. But we'll see.
You never know.
Something else. You never can tell. The hurdles
are there's a lot there. I like the French kid is good. I think you can never count out Tinch on those guys. I think they'll get it right. No, you can't count out Tinch. And I'm sure Grant. And I think Iapis,
I think I'm always certain that Holloway is going to find something in the series. He's that kind of person. I mean, when you have that talent and when you have that kind of mentality, you find a way. And I think Grant will find a way eventually. So I'm not wrong about it at all.
No, I wouldn't either. But it's an interesting one. Long jump today was interesting as well.
Tajay Gale looks like he found something. That last jump at 8.28 meters, his body language to me tells me that, or suggests certainly, that he's unlocked something that has been holding him back. And he's with Kerry Lee Ricketts now. And the first 2 jumps, he didn't look particularly great. But the last jump was pretty decent. 8.28 meters, he goes into the final with the best jump. And because Tentoglu is vulnerable this year, and because Furlani has only jumped, not really only jumped, but he's jumped 8.34 this year. Ihama has jumped at 8.34 as well.
Right.
I think if Tajay can find anything close to what he found in 2019, he probably will be on the podium as well. And this Nikolai Williams isn't bad either. Jumped 8.15. Didn't look bad on that jump, and maybe that will give him some confidence in going into the final, because, as I said, the long jump is not where it used to be. These guys are.
You lost Adcock too, so it's like there's space there.
There's space there, So you're looking at a situation where, if you're within a particular window of maybe 8.30 to 8.40, if you're in that window, you're certainly in with a good shot of the middle.
No, it's interesting. Any thoughts on the 400-meter hurdles? I mean, all the principles look good, but even from a Jamaica perspective, if you have thoughts on that too. I thought Roshan had to sweat a little bit, but in the end, it wasn't too bad.
He miscalculated, and it almost cost him, similar to that Sherika Jackson happened to Sherika Jackson in 2021. He told us that his plan was to be in the top 3 after 300, and was looking to his left and not recognizing that there were people coming on his right. But he says he barely made it in. He made it as one of the fastest non-qualifier, non-automatic qualifiers. So he says he won't make that mistake again. So let's see what happens in the semifinal round. For Malik James King, I don't think he's at his best. He says he's had some injury issues this year, and you can see that he's not sharp as he used to be. And Arsene Wilson told us a very revealing interview, which was quite interesting and quite, a nightmarish situation as well, because he says the doctors found polyps in his lungs, and to the point where he was actually, spitting out blood. And so he needs $2 million Jamaican dollars to do surgery. But the good news is that while we were talking to him, the ministry reached out to me and to Wayne, and we're taking his particulars, because I think they're going to try and help him to first of all, get the surgery. Because there's as you know, Jamaica has a health insurance fund for athletes, health insurance program, I should say, for athletes. So maybe that under that program, under that insurance scheme, the $2 million will be significantly reduced in terms of what he needs to raise to pay for the surgery.
Right.
So when he comes,
he has to do that out of the country.
I'm not sure where he's going to do it, because I'm not sure, because I think he mentioned that doctor, but I don't remember exactly which doctor he mentioned. So maybe it's overseas or maybe it's local. I think wherever it is, I think it's good that he told us, one, because
Right.
he seems to be getting help, but it then explains how poorly, because he said when he got to the 200-meter mark, he tried to push, but there was nothing there. But when you can't breathe properly, you have no energy, you won't be able to function that way. So maybe it's a good thing that he did that and then spoke to us afterwards.
Okay. Well, we certainly wish him the very best. Hopefully, he gets the kind of medical treatment needed, and he could return, back to competition and do the thing that he loves to do.
Jared Bowen said, "No, I'm breaking the 200-meter world record." Yeah, right.
Jared is young. He's not. There was a question over here on your channel, and I thought about it. My answer to this is your thoughts on the Cole Hawker's disqualification. I think it's valid. There's no space there, but I don't know if you have a different take there for Jocelyn. I think it's Rule 70 for Cole Hawker being disqualified in the 1500.
It's jostling. It was clear. It's a rule and it's there. And I mean, I don't think there's anything to argue. Yeah. It was clear when you saw it. You knew that there was something that was potentially punishable, and it turned out exactly to be that way.
Yeah, and Cole likes to come in the inside, but I think that he does a step too far. I like Cole. I think he's a great athlete, but there's limits to what you can do, and I think it's Rule 17 1.2. Yeah, it's if you read it, it's pretty clear.
Jared is saying that he's going to run 19.1.
Yeah, Jared. I like Jared a lot, but he's. I think Jared just turned 19. He's living in cuckoo land sometimes. He's good for the channel, but he's always having all this.
Yeah, he's entertaining, but
objectivity. I see Sherry, and there's a lot of people on your Jam Done 22, Stefan. I just wanted to shout people out so we don't ignore them, but it's it's one of these things. Yeah. But
but what I like, can we talk a little about the women's 400 meters?
Because sure, go right into that. Yeah.
Because Salwa looks great. She told us, we did a post-race interview with her. She told us that she didn't realize she was going that fast. 49.14, the fastest ever qualifying time in a heat. Sydney looked good, obviously.
Very.
And I mean, Paulino is Paulino, so she did what she tried to do to qualify. But I was particularly impressed with Nikisha Price. She looked completely controlled for 49.91. I was even more impressed with Stacey-Ann Williams, because I remember the last time I spoke to her at trials, and she said to me, she's tired of running 50. She wants to break 50 seconds. Now she has a big drop to 49.59. And she seemed well within herself. I mean, she was in the same heat with Salwa, but when you're in the same heat with Salwa, you run 49.5, you look like you're slow. But the thing about it seems to me that Stacey's ready to run faster as well. So you could probably see both Jamaicans, or two Jamaicans, go. Well, word is that Nikisha is ready to go 48. Maybe Stacey-Ann too. I'm not sure, but maybe Stacey-Ann goes 49 low. If she goes 49 low, I mean, she gets into a final run 49 low, kudos to her. I don't think that gets her on the podium, but certainly it would be a big step forward for her. And it would validate the move from elite performance or back over to hurdles and mechanics when she did it earlier this year. So, but she looks good. They both look good.
I like it. Relays for sure. If it would be where they might want to see if they could try and get if it would, I guess.
Because
people.
But and Dejeuner slowly who looks she looks a little tired. I think she's been running since December last year, so I think it's catching up to her now, and I think she's a little tired. You can't see it; she doesn't have the energy. So maybe she can tank the semifinal and get some rest and come back and run the 4x4 and see if we can get a medal there as well.
Right.
So because I think in terms of the quality of performances, I think other than the United States and Netherlands, I think Jamaica is probably the best team.
I mean, GB usually is good, but this year it's a different setup for them. A couple of their people.
Belgium doesn't look that awesome either. But I think with if Nikisha and Stacey-Ann and Leah Anderson, I probably wouldn't use. I probably use Ronisha McGregor. Because Leah doesn't have the strength. The challenge for me, and I have to speak into our coach, Derek Atkins, her issue is that she's too small. He tries to keep her weight above 150, about 115, he says, but she loses weight very quickly. And because she's in China now, where obviously the food is not to her like Japan, where the food is not to her liking. It's similar to when she went to World Indoors in China, where she didn't eat, and she lost 5 pounds in like a couple of days. Maybe they need to work on a plan with her nutrition and get her bigger and stronger. But if we can put together a team with Renisha McGregor and Stacey-Ann and Nikisha Price and Oakley, maybe a silver or bronze is there for the taking. You never can tell.
Yeah, no, it is. You never know. Yeah, we'll wait to see. It's just that there's no medals to be had outside of the big three unless they get injured. It's just
hard. The big three is the big three. I mean, you're looking at 3 women who have the potential to run 48 low.
Yeah.
Or even 47 high. We probably could see a 47.9. You never can tell. Because the way Salwa looks, and right now Salwa looks like she's ready to go 47. I swear to you. The ease at which she ran at 49.14. You remember she cruised from about 250, she literally
I thought it was an insane run. I'm like, why she's running that fast?
And she said she didn't know she was going that fast. Yeah. So you can tell she's in shape. And with Sydney and Paulina pushing each other, if they stick to their race plans, as opposed to having somebody draw each other out of their race plans, they could each run some ridiculous times in the final. I think it's going to be really interesting to see. And given what Nikisha Price said, strange things can happen. Maybe she splits the big three. Who knows? I'm just reaching here, but the reality is that
it's like a heart versus like what we really think.
Yeah, because the feeling I'm hearing is that she's in 48 shape. So but she might run 48 and not even be close to the podium.
It's different class. Thoughts on the guys going through like the opening round and the men?
I was impressed with them.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. Rashid McDonald should have run that 44.38 at the national championships, but shot down 15 meters from the tape and putting his fingers to his lips like an idiot. But he says he feels like he's going to run 43. But I'm guided by Stephen Francis is coming to me. He said with Rashid McDonald, you never know what you're going to get from one day to the next. So that is my guide. Yeah. Delano Kennedy. 44.51. No, Delano ran 44.74. Somebody else ran who ran 44.51.
The guy's name.
Bobel McPherson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But all 3 of them are in good shape. They look like they're in good shape. They ran those races. I thought McPherson would have blown up because he ran out of lane 9 and he was running blind. And I thought he would have blown up by 300 or 350, but he kept going. I ran 40, a big PB. Threw up afterwards, 44.51, but he said that he's in good shape and he expected it. And, of course, Kennedy 44.74. It looks like even if these guys don't get onto the podium, I think Jamaica has a pretty decent 4x4 squad.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough run. He's in semi-final number 1 and running on the lane 9. It has Nene there and Christopher Bill. It's going to be a tough run, but yeah. But 4x4, as you mentioned, they should serve well on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Marvin Guinness is asking Cherokee. Yeah, Cherokee had a medical issue, let's put it that way, and decided to pretty much take the season off. So I don't know if she's going to come back next year.
Yeah.
My gut feeling tells me that we might not see her again because she just looks pretty comfortable now living the life of the rich and famous. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to call this 400. I mean, Jacora Patterson, I thought went out really hard there. I don't know why you would have wanted to run that fast, but maybe just can't help it right now.
Yeah, but Nene looks good as well. Remember we were talking about Nene, that fact that he's coming off an injury. But but Jacora looks really good. Looks really good. I was concerned about Matthew Hudson-Smith. That first round run was disturbing. Who I picked Jerry Richards to be on the podium, and I remember somebody in the comments questioning it. The way he looks really good.
Yeah.
And so he's on track to deliver for me, and I'm hoping that he does. I think he deserves it. Because right now, when you look at the field, there is nobody in that field except for perhaps Jacori, who is that much better than Jerry.
Yeah. There's some quality athletes there, obviously, but not much better, you know. I think
Yeah.
Charlotte Dobson could surprise. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. There, I think Dr. JD Smith was asking about your thoughts on your channel about I think Jefferson. We did talk about Jefferson at the top of the show, so maybe you
Yeah.
have to go back and
Yeah,
watch that there.
Melissa is the boss right now. No, she is the
Yeah.
goat. What you want something is interesting. In 2022, Shelly set a championship record of 10.67.
Yeah.
Then Shakira dropped it to 10.65. And
1065.
Melissa
Yeah.
dropped it to 10.61. What comes next? In 2027, 10.5?
Right.
It's crazy.
I mean, the standard is you have to meet the standards, right? When people set the bar,
Yeah.
if you want to be in that competitive space, you have to do it.
Yeah.
All right, Leighton, it's been an hour, and I know you have to make a move, so we probably just call it there.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, we'll talk more. I think we can probably do one right after the championships. I don't know what my time schedule is going to look like.
Yeah.
And
We work on
I
something.
need to get some sleep.
All right, cool.
Yeah, but God, thanks guys for coming on, and of course remember to like and subscribe to the channel, Mr. Analyst, and keep going.
I'll put up the
sending
banners if they haven't subscribed to your channel for sure.
Yeah.
So subscribe to mine as well. But appreciate it. Next time we get your comments better, guys. But Leighton has to run. He has to be in studio early tomorrow. So we talk to you again, Leighton. Take care.
Yeah, man. Take it easy.
All right. Bye.